All right, guys, I wrote a little script. This is about the YouTube machinima days from 2007 to like 2011. I kind of wanted to edit a video about this kind of to this script. And here's the script. I'm just going to read it. I wrote it. Here it goes. Okay, so in the late 2000s, a writer from the UK was desperate to sell his website. He sold it to two brothers from Los Angeles who quickly had their sites on YouTube, and that is where they made most of their money. They were pretty clueless about video games, but to their credit, they recognized that while Halo was kind of the big hot thing at the time, engines like Half-Life 1 and Source had way more artistic and creative potential. They wanted Half-Life content, not just like Halo and Call of Duty and silly kind of Mario 64 stuff. This is one thing that they got right. Half-Life had the potential for those videos. Unfortunately, kind of stuff like this led to a very fierce competitive environment between new and old content creators. Like the old school guys were pissed, like the ones who just made it like their own little community. We were pretty much hijacking their art form, and we kind of turned it into like something completely different, into something that was kind of commercial instead of like their kind of like community like art project kind of thing. But I personally like knew the value of comedic content, and like if you want, I knew like from a very early age, like if you wanted to get seen on the internet, you had to be funny. Like you needed to like have some jokes, bring the jokes, especially like near the end, kind of as like a reward. And so the guys in the comedy area of the scene would do things like steal jokes, steal ideas, straight up hijack stuff. I did that in Counter Strike for Kids. You kind of pretended like you were friends with each other, like with me and Daspo Shit or Ross Scott or DJY, but deep down you knew you wanted to be better than the other guy. We even trolled some of our competition for laughs. Unfortunately, with success comes like ego and cockiness, and with guys like me and DJY 1991, we started partying. Guys like us had just graduated high school in 2008, 2009, and had those kind of pressures in society, and this kind of partying led to ruined friendships. Soon after my 21st birthday, my friend and I stopped talking, and it's kind of been that way ever since. And, I can remember driving around after making my first Source Wars video in 2009, smoking weed near my high school and just thinking I had made it when, I wasn't even close, because the ego was definitely like an issue. Like we all thought we were hot shit back in those days. And, I can even just tell you stories about, like my marijuana smoking got so out of control that like I couldn't even stay awake for my college girlfriend. Like my college girlfriend wanted to stay up at night, and like drink or like have a little fun. And I was so stoned off of weed that I couldn't even stay awake for her. And it's just like, this is the path that me and many other fellow directors took. And it's a shame that, it was like a wrong time, wrong place kind of thing. But I mean, I guess we had a little bit of fun, but who really cares about that now? Okay, guys, take care. Have fun.